Welcome to the 50th anniversary celebration of the Lewis Edgerton SMOOT Memorial Library. I'm Cathy Binder, Chairman of the King George Board of Supervisors and a SMOOT Library trustee. Mr. and Mrs. Lewis Edgerton SMOOT spent their life giving back to a community they came to love. Though they did not live here, they had strong family ties to King George County. Lewis was a direct descendant of George Washington's sister and the owner of land that dated back to 1659 and was owned by the Alexander family that founded Alexandria, Virginia. The Caledon State Park, as we currently know it, was donated by Mrs. Smoot in 1974, and the original house currently hosts their museum and Parks and Rec Center. Here you can enjoy hiking, birdwatching, kayaking, and the beauty of the Rappahannock River. Forever, this land will not be developed but enjoyed by anyone that wishes to visit. Mrs. Smoot was not done with just that one gift. Previously, in 1969, Mrs. Smoot deeded and donated the land and the building that became the SMOOT Memorial Library. This library opened for business on March 2nd, 1970. 50 years ago, county residents walked through different doors than today, but their own library that was highly unique. On its first day, 110 King George County residents received library cards and 155 books were checked out. Mrs. Smoot ran and privately financed the library from March 1970 until November of 1973. On November 13, 1973, the land, the library building, and its contents were officially gifted to the County of King George and its supervisors to preserve for the residents of King George its forever use. At that time, Mrs. Smoot donated $700,000 to establish an endowment fund to help maintain the library as a free and public library. The income from this fund is expended for library purposes, and since 1983, a small portion of the library budget is provided by the county to the county serving the needs of its citizens. In 2013, a modern addition was added onto the library to serve the growing needs of the patrons of the library and the residents of King George County. Meeting rooms were added, a bigger library space, and many groups used these for free of charge, like the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts and church groups. The older section was renovated, but an important piece to the original structure was kept intact, and that is known as the Memorial Room. This room was paneled in maple, topped by plaster cornices colored to match. The parquet floor was covered by a 22-foot imperial Kerman rug. Draperies of scalmadra brocade were used and hung in the windows. Brass chandeliers hang over a 16-foot table of solid cherry with cherry side chairs. And on a side note, Mrs. Smoot made her dress for the opening ceremonies from material used in the draperies. Mrs. Smoot's donations only carried on the legacy of her husband, who died in 1962. Interested in community development, Lewis would purchase entire bond issues distributed by citizens and counties for use in construction. And in 1940, he purchased the bond that made Ralph Bunche High School. What an amazing brief glimpse into the remarkable generosity of a couple that gave back to their community. Their philanthropy was recognized in 1977 by the American Library Trustee Association. This recognition was given to Mrs. Smoot for her major benefaction to the Smoot Library. Thank you to Mr. and Mrs. Smoot, and here's to many more years that the library, the SMOOT Memorial Library, can service the needs of the residents of King George County. Thank you and good night.